welcome to the Related to Geeks podcast, the podcast about a geeky family. My name's Megan, I'm the youngest of the siblings, as well as your host, and tonight with us is my brother Kier.
Hello.
My sister Sarah.
Hello.
And our dad, not-so-robot dad.
Yeah, I'm actually here.
We're all here. We're all in the same room filming this podcast. We're going to record it and put up the audio as usual. But also on our YouTube channel, we're going to have a recorded version. So if you're watching this on YouTube, awesome. If you're not, you should go check us out at Related to Geeks. So today we're actually, instead of doing the segments, we're going to play Microscope, which is a game Sarah brought up a couple podcasts back. And she has a little reading that she's going to do for us that kind of explains a little bit about the game. So, Sarah?
Just a little teaser here. Microscope works differently than some other role-playing games you might have played, so let's abandon some preconceptions. You won't have your own character. You won't play the game in chronological order. You may know all about the future, but you will be surprised by the past. You'll build the story from the outside in. You'll decide the big picture, the grand scheme of history, and then burrow down and carve out the details. It's fractal gaming. So think big. You have a massive chunk of history to play around in. Humanity spreads to the stars and forges a galactic civilization. Fledgling nations arise from the ruins of an empire. An ancient line of dragon kings dies out as magic fades from the realm. These are all examples of Microscope games. So that's it, in a nutshell, in a very, very small nutshell.
I have no idea what this game is about, so even after you explaining it to me.
That's what we're here to find out. That's what we're here to find out.
So basically, the game is kind of a history timeline. And we're going to start by setting up what our big history is, what the overarching story is going to be, the start point and the end point. And then we'll build within that different periods and different events and different scenes until we have this nice history of
Imaginary.
It's not guaranteed to be nice.
Yeah, well, or concise either.
Well, with us, it's certainly.
So, to begin with, we have to kind of decide what we want our story to be about. And to do this, we want to create a sentence that kind of describes what's happening in our world.
It's kind of the foundation, right?
Kind of the foundation.
Something.
The
Basic something. Starts it all.
You know, all of these things that are at the end, these worlds, the humanity spreads to the stars and forges a galactic civilization. That's the sort of thing we're looking for. It could be, some of the examples they give, it could be the extinction of an animal. It could be, planetary exploration. It could be alternate history. It could be, the South won the Civil War, or the English won the Revolutionary War, or Martin Luther never posted a, proclamation on the church. I don't know. I mean,
I have an idea for the end. The end of the story is the ascension of the Uber Geek.
Okay, but we have to have the sentence first, and then we agree on the beginning and the end.
Oh, you have to have the what first?
The actual overarching story.
The overarching story before we have.
We
want the sentence. The sentence.
Okay.
So, we could do fantasy or science fiction. Those would be my two picks.
Yeah. And we could just pick one from the book. They have a whole bunch of seeds here that would help.
We'll give some examples just so we kind of know what we're going with.
Okay. The last magic passes from the world is one of them. Technology brings humanity into a golden age. Battle of the planets. Explorers settle a new land, displacing the native people. Primitives leave their caves and found the first cities. The teachings of the prophet are embraced by many, but bitterly rejected by others.
How about the graduation of the human race into virtual reality?
Be interesting.
Kind of a 2001 thing, except not. And then the ending could be the ascension of the Uber Geek.
Maybe we could start by just specifying the general genre that we want to do. Do we want to do science fiction? Do we want to do fantasy? Do we want to do alternate history? Or well, I feel like with the crowd
I'm
that we
going
have,
for science fiction or fantasy.
Yeah.
And the specific thing I suggested is science fiction, but I'm not locked into it. I'm
Yeah.
just throwing stuff out.
Yeah, I think at this table we've got fans of both, but I think everyone at the table's a fan of fantasy.
Very well worded there,
Yes.
my dear brother.
It's, I would personally like to play a blue fantasy. It's kind of like regular fantasy, only more blue.
I'm good with either. I'm good with what Dad suggested. I feel like it's a little more natural for me to come up with ideas for science fiction because it's more like looking into the future than trying to figure out a fantasy world. But fantasy world, kind of you can go wherever and don't really know.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with this game is we are all creating this world together, and
We
it
could
can
have
be,
a futuristic world with fantasy elements.
You could. You absolutely could. And that comes out in a minute, and I'll explain that.
Well, if we graduate into a virtual reality, the virtual reality could be pretty fantasy oriented.
Could be.
We could even have dragons in the virtual.
So basically, what we're getting at is no matter what we decide, it's going to have fantasy elements and sci-fi elements.
Right, fantasy elements and sci-fi elements. I think that's a good idea. That's a good.
Well, if we just wanted
Starting
to,
point.
if we
Fantasy
wanted to
elements
just start
and
with
sci-fi.
one of their seeds, technology brings humanity into a golden age.
Yeah, but
That's
that's too broad.
You want it to be broad. This is supposed to be broad. You don't want it to be narrow because then you don't have a history there.
Yeah.
You have a period or an event.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be that ascending into virtual reality is a
That's the thing. That's one of the
Computer
things.
technology brings shared consciousness to the human race, leading to virtual reality, and the ascension of the Uber Geek.
That one's cool.
Yeah.
A race of machines unearthed their organic origins. And I'm the only one. I'm the only one that thinks that's cool. 'cause
that
just
would be
looked at
I think it's me.
well after the ascension into virtual reality.
But that's what they're getting at. It's like you unearth it and you find that information throughout history.
you know,
as
that-
part of the world building.
Yeah. They find a really, really old database.
Those things
SQL.
never break down.
The problem is it was backed up as a zip file,
Oh no.
and they don't have the unzip program anymore.
Thoughts?
I like that one, but I mean, and that's it. Definitely could. Dad's ideas could come into that.
Yeah.
But
Well, I think with our being our first game, we might be better off just choosing one of the pre-selected, and then
That way we kind of understand.
yeah, I don't want
Yeah.
to choose something too narrow and then get locked into something.
Well,
Get forced
yeah.
into a certain story because
Yeah.
the idea is we're discovering the story as
As we go,
We're not sitting
yeah.
down and being like, we're going to tell this type
and one
of
of
story.
the things that this game tells you is keep things that you want to happen close to you, because it's not as fun for other people to discover them if everybody already knows what you're trying to
Gotcha.
go for.
So far, Dad's not very good at this game.
So, secret societies carefully steer the course of civilization. That could go in any sort of direction. The ancient enemy spreads its dark hand across the land. I mean, I think the seeds are really good, and that's one thing that I really like about this is that when you're starting to play, it's easy to just grab one of these, and it can go. I mean, you could play 2 games with the same story seed with even the same people,
be
and I
completely
think
different.
come out with completely different.
All right. Well, looks like there's about 21 seeds. You want to just go rando?
Well, we could do random. Do you have a die, or do you have a
No,
thing
I
on
can
your?
say, hey, Dad, pick a number between 1 and 21.
17. 42. You mean they're not numbered?
Captains of industry, corporations dominate society.
Boo. Too much like reality.
He's
But they
vetoing.
could dominate with
Fantasy
virtual
science.
He's
reality.
vetoing his choice.
Vetoing the choice. All right, Megan, choose a number between 1 and 21 that is not 17
Or 42.
or 42.
15.
Atlantis sinks and her secrets are lost with her.
Liz, pick your number between 1 and 21 that's not 15 or 17.
20.
That's going to be that one.
Is it?
Well, if there's 21, 20 is going to be the next.
Maybe there's only 20. Maybe I miscounted. The last magic passes from the world. That could be a good one.
That's Jack Vance.
Yep. Let's go ahead and do that one. Third time's the charm, right?
The last magic passes from the world.
You can't count.
That's 20.
It's 21.
Oh, what was 17?
You're counting this one twice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 16, 17 is evolution of a species.
You just counted several things twice.
Let's do the last magic passes from the world.
Okay.
All right.
It's the last one. Yeah.
All right.
And next time we can do our own.
Yeah.
Damn it.
All right. Last magic passes from the world. Now what?
Okay, so now we're going to write that down.
All right.
Ah, something
We're
gets
already
written.
starting to play this game.
Yeah. So, we're going to write it this way.
Oh my gosh, it goes this way too.
So I'm just writing
Notice
the
that
last.
Sarah is left-handed.
I am. I'm the only one at this table that is.
If you want, I can write left-handed for this episode.
We'll be able to read it.
It'll honestly be probably as good as I write right-handed. So, you know.
Okay, so that's right there just to remind us that that's our story. So our next,
Passes from the
I'm going to close this and get this off the table because it's big and huge. And we have it if we need it.
And that was the rule book?
That's the
And-
rule book.
and
It's a
you-
PDF.
And you bought a PDF?
I bought a
and it was
PDF
like-
and printed. It was $10, $9.99, something like that. If you want the print copy, I
And
think
you can
it's
see, if you're watching, there's not much else
yeah.
required to play
yeah.
the game.
A couple of writing utensils, and this was just a 4x6 index card that I cut into quarters, so they're 2x3 little cards for us to write on.
Okay.
And that's all we need, and our imagination. So next we're going to make start and end periods. So this is going to be the beginning of our world to the end of our world. Or at least the part of our world that we're going to be discussing.
All right.
So,
So is the end that the last magic passes from the world?
it could be, or
But
something
a
within
little
that
more
period. A period,
specific,
yeah.
probably.
It could be.
Well, it could be that magic is a metaphor for human contact. And so the end of our story is us, you know, extension into virtual reality.
Wow, when she brings it around. I'm thinking. No, I mean it could be something like that. The magic crystal loses its last flicker, or you know,
Gotcha.
The last
Something-
wizard dies.
or yeah, any of those kind of things. So to make it a little more
And
specific.
it does
than-
say from the world, it doesn't say from the universe.
Right.
I liked The Last Wizard Dies. The Last Wizard
The last wizard passes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, and now this is where it's kind of interesting. I'm going to write down the last wizard.
Wizard in all caps.
You should put
It's too late.
Wizard!
Okay, now we have to decide whether this is a dark event or a light event. Is it a good thing that magic has died and the last wizard has passed, or is it a dark event that the last wizard, because it's going to set the
True
tone.
neutral.
It's going to set the tone for,
Yeah,
for
it's
the
going to
rest
mean
of
whether
the
that's
story.
a good wizard or a bad wizard.
So,
Or if the magic's good or bad.
Yeah.
Or, I mean...
Yeah.
I like magic corrupting people. I like
so the last
Power
wizard is
as
an
corruption.
evil wizard.
So the last wizard passes is a good thing? A light event? Or a light period?
well,
I
I mean,
feel like it's a dark event.
So,
last
well, my
My
original
experience
thought-
with wizards
Someone
are,
dies. It's sad, but it's also natural. It happens.
Yeah.
So it isn't the fact that he died. It's the fact that
It's-
he's the last wizard,
Yeah.
and he died. And so we have lost something and gained something. We have lost wizardry and magic, and we have gained a world without the influence of wizardry and magic.
And
So-
we have to decide if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah.
I think
I think when magic becomes super rare like that, it's gonna be bad, and maybe it, in its form that it is now, is a very dark thing. Or the magic is a very dark thing, so therefore it would be a light event that this magic is finally gone from the world.
almost, I feel like if you're talking about the last wizard, he probably became the last wizard by taking out all the other wizards.
So,
Could be.
Yeah.
And I like the literary idea of
So
power being
So we'll say-
a corruptive force.
we'll say
Macbeth.
this is a light event then.
okay. So with a light event, I'm just gonna draw an empty circle. And that shows us that that's a very light event at the end. Now our beginning, or not event, period. Our
As
beginning,
opposed to dark, not as opposed to heavy.
right.
Yeah, okay.
It's heavy too.
More light and dark is more like good and evil.
So next we have to decide since these are called bookends. So next we have to decide the beginning period of the bookends.
The beginning period of the last magic passes from
Right.
the world.
So
Battle of the Wizards.
I'm good with that.
Battle of the Wizards.
And that sounds like a dark event, so that makes a really good alternate.
So Battle of the Wizards sounds like it could be at the height of magic.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Is the Battle of the Wizards on Mount Skullsfire?
Yeah. I'll go for that being a dark event.
being a dark event, I think it's
It's
really
like war.
interesting when your end and your beginning bookends are opposite. But and also it's, and then I'm just gonna put some
Yeah.
shading in there to show that's a
Okay.
dark thing. Now, I'm going to make 2 sheets or 2 cards. One's going to say yes, and one's going to say no. And this is called the palette. And what we're going to do is we're going to go around the table, and we are able to say something that we either definitely want included in this world or something that we definitely don't want included in this world. And we can still talk about this.
Okay.
So one of the things, like if you were doing a fantasy world, like this is kind of setting up to be, one of your things could be that you don't want dragons. I'm not suggesting that as what I don't want, but you expect there to be dragons in a fantasy world, so I don't want there to be dragons. And if somebody is absolutely against that and really wants there to be dragons, then they can speak up and we can go, okay, well that's not a good thing, and you could pick something different.
Okay.
We do go around the table. If everybody picks something, we go around the table again until somebody doesn't pick something, and then basically once that pass around the table is done, we are done with this part of the game. The yes part would be something that you may not
So
expect.
it's kind
to
of
be in
like a
this
little
world.
substructure.
Yeah,
More than a
and stuff to help you build your story from. Once something's in a yes column, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be out on the table. It's not
I
really in the world until somebody
Definitely want
says.
the wizards to wear pointy hats.
You want the wizards to wear pointy hats?
He wants
Absolutely.
traditional robe and pointy hat wizards.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't have a problem with that. Does anybody have a problem with that? So that's going to go in the yes column.
My
just
actual
put pointy
initial
hats.
thing was going to be I don't want robe and pointy hat wizards, but that's all right. We'll do robe and pointy hat wizards.
And we can do this. It doesn't have to be around the table. It's just everybody has to either come up with something or pass.
Let's go in turns. We started over here, so let's just go in turns and do it that way.
Okay.
Yeah, like it says.
Well, it doesn't say. That's I made that part up,
We'll do
and
it
I
like
think
you made up.
like I made
I
up.
like that. Turn-based.
The problem with that is that it can take a while for some people to think I don't have an idea yet, but one of these two might have an idea.
Well,
so
we'll be thinking.
I would like magic to be incantation based,
What does that mean?
like with verbal, like an incantation.
You say things and you
Wave your hands and
All right. Is that covered with wizards wear pointy hats? Because it sounds like we already got kind of traditional wizards.
well, as opposed to the source coming from somewhere else. It's
I got
coming
you.
from a spell, basically.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're spellcasters.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
spell casting wizards as opposed to getting their power from another place.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
fine. That's a yes thing, right?
All right.
Yeah. Do you have something here?
Well, it was suggested previously, but maybe if you defeat another wizard, then you gain their power.
Okay, and that's a yes or a no?
I mean, they got to have a reason for battling, right?
Oh, so
But-
that you're saying that takes away my
No.
spell casting thing?
No, it's an entirely different thing. You're saying that if you defeat another wizard, you win his marbles.
Yeah, there can be only one.
A kind of their, yeah, okay, so the end is written in
So
the
maybe,
beginning.
yeah. So okay,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean that works alongside that.
It isn't necessarily there can be only one, but it
Yeah.
does kind of push things in that direction.
I feel like I really want to do a no, though. Let's see here. What would be the no in this case? We've got wizards wear pointy hats. They cast spells through incantations and their own power. What if, and this kind of draws away from this, but what if, yes, they cast spells and things like that, but their spells are all very long rituals, and the way they actually do battle with magic is strictly through magical items that they create. I don't know how.
So the actual spell casting is creating a magical item which they then use in battle.
Yeah,
That's a lot. that's probably
too much.
too much for a palette item.
Okay, so
But you're saying, you could say, I want there to be magical weapons.
Or items.
I could say no fast magic.
No fast magic.
No
okay.
fast
I like that. That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Magic takes time.
Yeah. Takes time to learn and takes time to prepare and accomplish.
I mean, you don't. These wizards don't throw fireballs or lightning bolts.
Yeah. They gotta work at something for a while, have a plan. Yeah.
I want there to be no magical beings other than the wizards.
Okay. I like that.
Yep.
You good with that?
I'm good with that.
That's
It's
a no. No.
It's a no.
No. It's a no.
Oh, I was gonna put wizards only magical beings. Yeah.
No other magic.
So, no fairies, no unicorns.
No dragons.
I don't know what I was thinking there.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, my turn again.
Yep.
You did one, Sarah?
Yeah. We have four
Okay.
things down.
No immortality.
No immortality. There can be only one. Is everybody okay with that? I'm writing it down,
Yeah.
but
Now the wizards might be striving for immortality,
Yeah,
but they're
that's really good. I like that a lot. Let's see here. I did a no, so I'm going to try to think of a yes next.
Don't do that. Don't do that. It gives you a headache.
I think I'm going to
Just
go
twist it if
ahead
you want it to
and
hold.
not pick
Twist it
something
to
this
tighten it.
time because
And it'll
I
hold
want
in
to get the
place.
game going. So
Okay.
go ahead. So y'all can both pick one if you want, or one of y'all can pass. But this will be our last bit.
Okay.
I will say, kind of going back to what I was saying before, there's no other magical creatures, but other people can use magic that wizards have prepared for them, be it items or things
Okay.
like that.
How can we state that concisely?
Yes, magical items.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, magical items. Yeah.
Sure.
So you could have a magic sword or a magic ring, or
Yeah, a wizard creates it long ago, and
Yeah.
those magical swords or rings could be of greater power than a lot of wizards out there right now.
Yeah. Okay.
I want magic in and of itself to be neutral. There's not light and dark magic.
Interesting.
So, no,
Magic is neutral, or
I would say no good or evil magic.
That's still on the yes thing.
However you want to do it, doesn't matter.
no magical alignment.
Okay.
Yep,
That's a good D&D
Yeah.
way of saying it.
I like it.
Okay. And now this is really anything else we discussed in there does not really belong in the
Yeah.
world yet. This is what
is the world.
belongs or doesn't belong in the world. In any way, these things cannot be included, and these things can, but are not necessarily.
Okay.
So I'm just going to put this up here in the corner so we can be reminded of those. Our next thing is what's called a first pass. And each player is going to make a period, which would be something that would happen between these two periods, or an event within a period that is put in. So you could put an event in within the Battle of the Wizards or within the last Wizard Passes. Say here adds an event, a period. Megan could add an event within that period.
Okay.
This is where the working together is now no longer applies. This is you create something based on what we know and what we have talked about being able to include and not include.
Okay.
So do you want to do the
Can I
same
go?
thing? Yeah, you can go.
Age of Chaos.
Age of Chaos, and that's a period.
Yeah, that's a period. And I'm not going to specify exactly where in between it
Okay.
goes, but
I like the name. Okay, and you
It's-
have to decide if it's light or dark.
oh, it's dark.
That's totally dark. Like,
I love chaos. I don't know about you.
it's not going to be,
Actually, I think as a group you decide if it's
Yeah.
light or dark anyway.
it's totally dark.
Okay, so I'm just going to put it right in the middle. It doesn't necessarily going to
And
stay
as-
there,
as-
but
as
it
a-
doesn't necessarily going to stay there. Wow. Okay.
Wordsmiths here.
I am going to create a period as well. And I'm going to call it. I don't know what I'm going to call it.
Talk it out.
Well. Actually, you know what? I'm going to just create an event within the Age of Chaos and develop that a little bit. And I am going... say that magic is regarded differently. And I'm trying to figure out if I want to say how differently. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If
But
I
like
want
the
to
perception of magic
the,
shifts.
the perception. I like that. The perception of magic shifts.
So, here, magic might be generally perceived as good. Here, it's generally conceived as bad.
Or whenever this event happens.
Yeah. So
Or
this-
rather,
something happens that
the wizards are, not magic itself, because
Yeah.
magic is unaligned.
Yeah.
So, and I really feel like that's going to be dark.
Yeah, I feel like too, right?
Yeah. And there could definitely be light within a dark period, and and scenes. You'd have light or dark scenes within a light.
It's probably
Right,
something
dark.
bad that happened. That made
Yeah,
the perception of magic
sounds like a
shift.
dark thing to me. So, okay, so that when you do a period, they go up and down. When you do a scene, they'll go below the period horizontally, so that
Okay.
you can tell the difference between a period and a scene. I mean, an event.
Alright. I think I want to and it's period, then events, and then scenes are within the events.
Right. But at this
Gotcha.
point, we're just creating
Periods and events.
periods and events.
Okay. I'm gonna leave it vague, and I'll let you go ahead and write it out.
Okay.
I'm gonna create an event during the Battle of the Wizards.
Okay.
It's going to be the creation of items of power.
Creations of items of power.
I don't know how many. I don't know what they are.
And do you feel like that's a light or a dark?
Ooh, I don't know. What do you guys think?
Like,
Light?
I feel like probably within that time period, it's probably light because
yeah.
Yeah.
Because the perception shifts later.
Yeah. So,
so of course
The items of
it can
power-
shift 3 times between now and then too.
Yeah.
the items of power are generally considered to be good.
Okay.
Yeah.
At the very least, useful.
Yeah.
I want to put another
Another event.
event,
Okay.
and I want to put. When you introduce like a character, do you usually try to name it or just kind of give a vague
Yeah, you can
description?
give a name. For sure.
Okay. Well, I don't know if I have a name, but I just want like, the beloved king is slain or something like that.
Okay. I think we should probably come up with a name for it.
Okay.
Just because.
I don't have a name for the king, but I mean,
We can. I mean, it could come out in the scenes too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Instead
that's
of
what I
trying
was
to.
thinking.
Murder.
Man.
Most foul.
And by the beloved, I'm assuming this is going to be
I
a
would-
lot,
I
a
would-
dark.
That means
Try
his
to
wife
correct
could put up with him. Pull up.
Okay, do you want that to happen before or after the perception of magic shifts?
I would say before.
Yeah, I
Before?
would say so
Okay.
as well.
Oh, cool. I see. So it's top to bottom chronological.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to create another error or whatever that's
Well, no,
called.
that's done.
That's it.
That's it. That's the first pass.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
This is now the game setup is done.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah. This
Okay.
is our game setup. This is what we have. We have 3 periods
Uh-huh.
and 3 events and a bunch of yeses and
no's.
nos and the last magic from the passes
So you
from
go
the roll.
you go around one time and then
And
that's
then
your framework.
that's your framework.
That's quick.
Yeah.
I like that.
And now we're going to decide who goes first, which I'm going to assume is going to be me.
So yeah, let's go ahead and go with you going first.
And that player becomes the first lens.